Whispers have been circulating about a drastic change. A headline might scream, "Canada's flight ban, 280,000 U.S. jobs at risk." This is indeed a very alarming statement. It suggests a complete stop to air travel. However, the full truth is more nuanced. There is no blanket flight ban imposed by the Canadian government. The situation requires a closer look. The reality is that several Canadian airlines are reducing flights. They are cutting back services to various U.S. destinations. These are individual business decisions made by the airlines themselves. They are not the result of a top-down governmental decree. These choices are influenced by a host of factors. These include political climates and economic pressures. The impact of these reductions, while not a total ban, is nonetheless significant. The U.S. economy is closely watching. The figure of 280,000 U.S. jobs at risk is a stark one. This number underscores the deep economic interdependence between the two nations. It illustrates how disruptions in travel can have far-reaching consequences. While this specific job loss figure may not be a direct confirmed outcome of current flight reductions alone, it highlights the scale of what be at stake if travel ties weaken considerably. This essay will delve into the details of these changes. We will examine the specific actions taken by Canadian Airlines. Importantly, we will analyze the potential economic fallout for the United States. Understanding this evolving situation is crucial for both countries. Several key Canadian airlines are behind the recent service adjustments. Air Canada, the country's largest airline, is making changes. WestJet, another major carrier, is also altering its U.S. schedules. Discount airline Flair Airlines has taken specific actions. Leisure-focused carriers like Sunwing and Air Transat are also involved in these shifts. This indicates a broader trend within the Canadian aviation sector. The flight reductions are not uniformly spread. They target specific U.S. destinations. Cities in Tennessee have seen services cut. Popular tourist destinations in Arizona are also affected. Florida, a perennial favorite for Canadian snowbirds and vacationers, is experiencing reductions. Las Vegas, another major draw for Canadian travelers, has also seen flight frequencies decrease. These cities rely heavily on tourism. Canadian visitors often form a substantial part of their market. Flair Airlines, for instance, completely canceled its route to Nashville, Tennessee. This decision, effective around March 2025, directly impacted connectivity to the Music City. Air Canada announced cuts to its flights serving Arizona and Florida. These reductions also commenced in the early spring of 2025. WestJet, while not detailing every cut, observed a clear shift. Canadian passenger bookings were moving away from U.S. destinations. They were opting for places like Mexico and the Caribbean instead. Airlines are clearly sensing a change in Canadian sentiment towards U.S. travel. They are adjusting their operations and marketing accordingly. This is a direct response to evolving market conditions. The decision by Canadian Airlines to reduce U.S. flights is not arbitrary. It stems from a complex mix of factors. Prominent among these are ongoing political tensions. The relationship between the United States and Canada has seen periods of strain. Trade disputes have been a recurring theme. These disagreements can create an uncertain environment for businesses. They can also influence public perception and travel choices. U.S. trade policies, including tariffs, play a significant role. The research specifically points to tariffs imposed during the Trump administration. Such measures can disrupt cross-border commerce. They can make travel and trade more expensive or complicated. This creates an unfavorable economic climate. Airlines are businesses that respond to economic realities. If the environment becomes too challenging, service adjustments are a natural consequence. Beyond official policies, the sentiment of Canadian travelers is crucial. There is evidence of a growing reluctance among some Canadians to visit the U.S. Reports indicate that some travelers are actively boycotting U.S. products. This sentiment extends to boycotting U.S. travel destinations. This grassroots movement, if widespread, directly reduces demand for flights. Airlines monitor demand very closely. A sustained drop will inevitably lead to service cuts. Reduced demand means that previously viable routes may no longer be profitable. Therefore, decisions to cancel routes or reduce frequencies are commercial ones. They reflect the challenging operational environment that has emerged from these political and economic pressures. The impact of these flight reductions can be measured. One clear metric is the loss of available airline seats. Commissioner Mark Ezell of the Tennessee Department of Tourist Development reported a significant figure. Approximately 18,000 airline seats from Canada to the U.S. have been lost. This is a direct consequence of the flight cancellations and service reductions. Fewer seats mean fewer potential visitors. This is a concrete loss for U.S. destinations that rely on Canadian travelers. Leisure travel bookings have seen a particularly sharp decline. Data from February 2025 showed a startling drop. Leisure reservations from Canada to American cities fell by 40%. This figure is in comparison to the same month in the previous year, 2024. A 40% reduction is a substantial blow. It indicates a strong and sudden shift in travel patterns. This directly affects hotels, attractions, and restaurants in the U.S. These businesses depend on a steady flow of leisure travelers. Beyond new bookings, existing travel plans are also being disrupted. Flight Centre Travel Group Canada provided telling statistics. In the 3 months leading up to March 2025, a notable trend emerged. 1 in 5 Canadian customers cancelled their trips to the U.S. This indicates that even those who had already planned and booked travel are rethinking their decisions. This level of cancellation points to significant concerns among Canadian travelers. Section 5. Official Guidance, Canadian Travel Advisories for the United States. The Canadian government updated its travel advisories for the U.S. in March 2025. Several European countries issued similar warnings. Canadians are urged to follow U.S. entry rules to avoid detention or deportation. Changes in U.S. State Department policy regarding passports also played a role. Canada advised ensuring travel documents match biological sex at birth for U.S. entry. Canadians staying over 30 days must register with the U.S. government. Failure to comply could lead to penalties. Section 6. U.S. Tourism responds. Industry voices and initial reactions. The issuance of travel advisories and news of flight cutbacks have not gone unnoticed in the U.S. Tourism officials across the country are expressing concern. The U.S. tourism industry is a major economic driver. Any threat to visitor numbers is taken seriously. Commissioner Mark Ezel from Tennessee noted the loss of 18,000 airline seats from Canada. This highlights the immediate impact on specific regions. His comments reflect the worries of local economies. The Canadian market is incredibly important for U.S. tourism. Canadians consistently rank among the top international visitors to the United States. They contribute billions of dollars annually to the U.S. economy. Their spending supports jobs in hospitality, retail, and transportation. Border states and sun destinations like Florida and Arizona particularly rely on this influx. A significant downturn in Canadian visitors can therefore have disproportionate effects in these areas. Airlines themselves are observing shifts in traveler preferences. WestJet, a major Canadian carrier, reported a noticeable trend. Canadian passengers are increasingly choosing alternative destinations. Mexico and various Caribbean islands are benefiting from this shift. These locations are actively competing for Canadian tourism dollars. If the U.S. becomes a less attractive or more difficult destination, these competitors stand to gain. This represents a direct diversion of tourism revenue away from the U.S. The strategic decisions of airlines like Porter Airlines also speak volumes. Porter is reportedly scaling back its promotion of U.S. destinations. This is a proactive measure. Section 7. Economic ripples, forecasts, analyses, and the job market question. The potential economic consequences extend beyond lost airline seats. Economic forecasting groups analyze such trends carefully. Tourism Economics provided relevant insights. Their report was cited in the context of international travel advisories for the U.S. It predicted a 12.3% fall in spending by European visitors. This could result in a $22 billion annual loss for the U.S. economy. A significant drop in Canadian visitors would also lead to substantial economic losses. This brings us back to the alarming figure, 280,000 U.S. jobs at risk. The International Air Transport Association recently revised its forecasts. It suggests that the challenges may not be short-lived. Section 8. Conclusion. Understanding a new chapter in U.S.-Canada travel relations. The situation regarding Canadian travel to the U.S. is complex. There is no outright government-imposed flight ban. That narrative is a misrepresentation. Significant reductions in flight services by Canadian airlines are occurring. These are commercial decisions made by the carriers, influenced by political tensions, trade disputes, and shifting traveler sentiment. These factors create a challenging environment. The impacts are already being felt. The U.S. tourism sector is experiencing the effects. Quantifiable losses in airline seat capacity and leisure bookings are clear evidence. Canadian government travel advisories add another layer of complexity. The question of U.S. jobs, symbolized by 280,000 potentially at risk, remains a concern. This underscores the vast economic contribution of tourism and the potential vulnerability of jobs. Understanding the true scale of any job impact requires ongoing monitoring. It highlights the stakes involved. Navigating this new chapter requires understanding all contributing factors. Sensationalized claims of a ban obscure the real issues. The reality involves intricate airline strategies, international diplomacy, economic pressures, and evolving traveler preferences. Addressing the root causes, fostering positive relations, and ensuring a welcoming environment are crucial for recovery.